My dear friends, this weekend we celebrate the 33rd Sunday in Ordinary Time. Believe it or not, time flies. We are almost at the end of the liturgical year, and Christmas is by the corner. This weekend, the readings, in a very compelling manner, focus on the last things to come. In fact, all the readings reawaken us to the passage of time. They call us to count time carefully, think about our mortality and how things come and go, leaving only one thing at the end: the Word of God. The first reading from the book of Daniel, chapter 12, describes the human struggle at the end of time. This struggle will either end in the resurrection to a glorious life or to an everlasting horror or disgrace. This description is perhaps the most explicit reference to the resurrection of the dead and the everlasting life in the Old Testament. This oracle from the book of Daniel was originally intended to offer hope to the Israelites who were suffering great persecution from foreign powers. Thus, it speaks of the protection of God's people in the face of persecution and of resurrection against the reality of death. It was faith in God, who will ultimately triumph over evil, that actually inspired the hope of the people. Now, being faithful through perseverance despite suffering and setbacks in life is an important Christian witness in our world. Thus, the gospel of this weekend from the Gospel of Mark alludes to the tribulation that will come before the reign of the new age and the final appearance of the Son of Man in glory. Unless we miss this, the gospel reading invites us to be attentive to the signs of the coming of Jesus Christ, but warns that no one knows the exact day or hour. And precisely because the exact day of the Lord's coming is unknown and unknowable, Jesus further warns that false messiahs will come to try to lead people astray. These false prophets will exploit the hope and fears of their victims. Nevertheless, Jesus is very clear that when things seem to have fallen apart and when there seems to be anarchy in the world, the center will hold and the wise shall shine brightly. Now, who are the wise? My dear friends, all of us who are old enough know that a lot has happened and continue to happen in our world. In the year 2001, the World Trade Center in America was attacked. And in the year 2004, the world witnessed the devastating tsunami that killed about 225,000 people. Earthquake, hurricane, pandemic, and terrible war have occurred in our world. As all these happened, predictions and prophecies abound, both on the internet and in churches, creating fear with their calendar about rapture and the return of Christ. Sometimes these prophecies make the subject of the end of the world so compelling and appealing. Many people have fallen for this interpretation. In the first weekend after the terrorist attack of the World Trade Center, it is reported that church attendance in America increased by a significant percentage. Like the disciples of Jesus, we can be frightened by the tragedies of life and so get so wrapped up with anxiety and fear about the end and forget God's promises. My dear friends, Jesus' words in our gospel is meant not to frighten people, rather to describe the end of time and offer everyone the opportunity to interpret, understand, and be prepared for the realities that we would experience during our lifetime, and the courage to look forward to the end time with hope. This hope is made alive because of the redemptive sacrifice of Christ, accomplished once and for all, as we read in the second reading from the letter to the Hebrews chapter 10. This sacrifice is made present every day at Mass. Remember this, that the Mass is not a historical repetition of Christ's sacrifice, but a participation or representation, that is, making the sacrifice of Christ present again. Thus, the Mass brings us back to the foot of the cross, where the words and actions of Jesus Christ endures. It is finished. Consequent upon this sacrifice, no matter how much tragedies we face, how much suffering we go through in life, or how broken we feel, the one great and lasting word is the love and the image of God that we carry within ourselves. This love of God and the redemptive image is made real on the table of the Eucharist. If we are attentive and can hold up, we would experience Jesus, who comes to walk along with us and reveals himself to us at the breaking of bread. On this table, he speaks the word which will not pass away. My dear friends, this last week of our liturgical year presents a renewed opportunity to us for self-reflection, to be aware of the passage of time and things, to reflect on our mortality, and to reclaim the salvation that Christ won for us on the cross. Therefore, our self-reflection must bring us to our knees at the sacrament of reconciliation and of grace, that we may be able to persevere in life with firm hope while we await the revelation of the Son of God and our resurrection to the glory of God. May God bless you.